Hello, all benders and non-benders, and welcome back to Avatar Generations. And today, I'm going to be giving a little guide here on how the timelines work, the new Avatar timelines, with our one currently being the Rise of Kyoshi timeline, and more specifically, how to get enough of the currency and how to use it on all of the available rewards that we can get with said currency. Now, before we get into that, just a couple orders of business. First of all, as of recording, we are almost at 800 subscribers. Thank y'all so much. So we are on the way to 1,000. It is in sight. So if you have not already, if you could just go below this video real quick and subscribe, it would mean the actual world to me. And if you have already subscribed, thank you so much. You have made my life, basically. It has been absolutely amazing, and I have loved it. So let's keep working on getting to that 1,000 mark and beyond. Second order of business. If you're watching this the day of or around the week that this video is released, I'm not here. I'm actually at the beach going on vacation. So this video and the next either 2 or 3 videos, I am pre-recording. That means that this week's event is going to be a little bit delayed in my coverage, but we will get to it. But we're already going to have some videos recorded here to keep y'all up to date with as much content as humanly possible. We're going to talk about the timeline currency, and then we're going to talk about some other characters in the near future. So without further ado, we're going to get right into it. Now, the timelines is, of course, this extra little panel here. We only have Kyoshi right now, but I'm sure that will change in the near future. Click on that. We have the Rise of Kyoshi. Now, already we want to call attention to one thing. The timeline shop. This is where you use these little blue orbs that you get from the timeline adventure places, kind of those locations that are in those timelines. We have 2 pages here. The featured one has an artifact set, as well as a support for Team Kyoshi characters. The 4-star Kyoshi, if you didn't already get her from the banner. And they do have the 5-star spider snake relic here. These are probably not what you're going to be going for too much unless you do already have an excess, kind of like what I did. I got some tickets first, and then went for some of the items I needed, like some Pang-Pangs or some artifacts. Kyoshi, I just got her maxed out from the summoning, and if you wanted to save up, you can get this extract here. It is a hefty number of currency though, and I'm going to show you why you probably don't want to go for that. The reason for that, it has a lot of competition. In the resources tab, in addition to some basic materials like energy and skip tickets, you can get 15 regular summon tickets and 15 Peace Chaos tickets every single month. For the regular summon tickets, that will run you at 50 per 3. So you do that 5 times, that's 250 tickets. And then the Peace Chaos tickets, that will run you 70 per 3, coming out to 350. Basically, in total, if you want to get all the summons, that is 600 timeline currency you need to try and shoot for every single month. We also did just get this added here, the new Avatar Timelines Guaranteed ticket. You can get 1 per account, and the sheer shoot darts for Chaos characters. The thing with the Avatar Timelines ticket, of course, you can only get 1, and I don't know how long it will be in shop. Keep in mind, first of all, that's a lot of currency. 1,500 is an immense amount of currency, which does make sense for a free 5-star. So just kind of let that be in the back of your mind, where if you do happen to get a massive excess in the future, maybe that's something you'd go for, but I'd personally recommend going for the once per month items first, that specifically being the summon tickets and the Peace Chaos tickets, because you'll probably get a little bit more mileage and value out of those in the long run. Now, we've talked about everything you can get with these currency items, but how do you actually get the currency items? Well, I'm going to tell you kind of the basic way, and then I'm going to tell you what I have found to be the best farming method. So, first thing you got to do is just walk the paths. That's pretty basic. Just like with the Aang timeline that gives you boss materials in these timeline locations, in this case being the Kyoshi timeline, instead of getting boss materials, you get timeline currency. I believe it's either 1 or 2 for each path here. So each day, once per day, you can walk each path and get yourself some of the currency. Additionally, there are some timed nodes that also grant the currency. The one I have found to be the biggest value is to do this node here, the farmhouse. I believe that one is an 8-hour node. I found it works best to do this one and then kind of use the resources you gain on this resource node just kind of as you can. I feel like that comes out the most efficiently as far as this particular location goes. That might be, I would love to hear other ideas, but just something to keep in mind for this location. Now that in and of itself won't net you a huge amount of timeline currency very fast. It's progress, of course, but there is one spot, one single node here in the Polar Refuge that you want to pay attention to if you are looking to grind timeline currency. You do have this time node here. This one is a 12-hour node, if I'm remembering correctly, so it is pretty hefty, but it will get you 6 currency every time you complete it. Just something to keep in mind. But the one you're going to want to pay attention to is this node here, Tegaka's Rest. It is a resource node first, and then a battle node. Now you might ask what these resources are. Boss materials. So, there are certain boss materials that this node cycles through. They were added when the Kyoshi timeline was added to the game, and for each of these 3 boss materials that you give to this resource node, you get 5 timeline currency. And there's no limit to how many times you can do this in a day. The only limit is basically how many boss materials you have, or excuse me, how many boss coins you have, and how many of the materials you've already bought in that week. Because remember, you can only buy 3 of each boss material each week. I believe that totals to 9, so 3 sets of 3 basically. So there's 5 rounds, 5 different boss materials that this will accept. If you do have the materials here like I do, you just hit the little start there, and boom, 5 timeline currency instantaneously. There you go. Then it switches to a battle node. You will notice here, it gives 10 timeline currency for completing it. So double the last one, totaling to 15 combined with that resource node. And it actually does give a chance, or it will give 3-star time arts, including the amulets, with a chance at 4-star. Now, I have not been totally impressed with this artifact set, at least in a PvP setting. But PvE, I mean, if you go for the 6 set, turn bar increase is turn bar increase, and who knows, maybe the meta will shift one day to where an immunity to turn bar reduction is important. And hey, 4-star relics, it's a low chance, but a chance is a chance, and they do have very nice stats when you do get them. Now, going into it here, each stage gets harder up until 5. I am already on 5 here. This is going to be the most difficult version. And then once you complete 5, it resets to 1, which is a much easier one, and then it ramps up repeatedly. So we're just going to get into the battle here. Of course, I'm going to have no trouble here because I have got a fair share of Team Kyoshi or Kyoshi timeline characters now. It was tough in the beginning for me because with only Kyoshi and Rangi available, you really had to make sure they were on their A game if you were going to beat this fight. Otherwise, you would get steamrolled. But we're not going to have any trouble with that here. we're just going to kind of do our thing. See, right there, that just wiped out 2 of them just for the fun of it. Just going to stomp them repeatedly. 3 down, and the last man standing here is as good as gone. You gotta love the graphical glitches of emulators. You gotta love it. So basically, you win the fight, and then you get the rewards. So we just get out of this. Just get out of that. And then, boom. You get the artifact, and you get 10 of the timeline currency. Factoring in, assuming you really go whole hog into this, like you are putting all of your boss coins into as many of these boss materials as you can, so you can use those resource nodes and then get to the combat node. If my math is correct, because keep in mind, it basically totals to 15 per go. There's 5 stages before it cycles back and repeats. So you can get 75 per run through, times 3 basically means, if my math is correct here, you can get 225 timeline currency from doing these stages each week. If you do that, and if you're and then factoring in everything else you get from just walking around, doing your time nodes, that will get you your tickets, and even a little left over for other rewards if it really works out well for you and if you're really diligent on it. As of right now, this is by far the best farm, and almost necessary, honestly, if you want to get all 15 of the summon tickets and all 15 of the Peace Chaos tickets. This is by far going to be your best and most reliable option. In the future, it should become a lot easier because we're going to get more stages. We'll even get more avatars with their own stages, yielding more timeline currency. It should become a lot easier in the future, but in the short term, we don't want to miss out on rewards. If you do care about the thing, I know I do, this is your spot. This is 100% your spot. Just make sure you are also mixing in your boss fights so you don't run out of boss coins, because it will burn them quick. It will burn them real quick. But that is about all we have for today. Hopefully, this guide on the currency kind of cleared some things up. I know it was very new and a whole lot going on here, with it basically being just a whole nother section of the game that's self-contained in itself. But with all those rewards, you definitely don't want to miss out on it at all. So that's why I'm here to try and help y'all through it. If you did find this useful, if you did learn something from this, let me know down in the comments below, and we shall see you next time. Have a good one.